Welcome to the Property Wealth Podcast. We're so glad you're joining us today.
Yeah, it's great to be here. You know, building a real estate team can feel overwhelming, especially when you're trying to stick to a budget.
Absolutely, Mike, but it's so important, right? Having the right team can really make or break your success in real estate investing.
For sure. And the good news is, you don't have to spend a fortune to create a solid team. There are plenty of ways to find trustworthy professionals without breaking the bank.
Exactly. Today, we'll dive into practical tips for assembling your dream team. We'll discuss how to find, vet, and collaborate with real estate agents, contractors, and even financial advisors, all while keeping your costs in check.
And we'll share some personal stories and experiences that highlight what's worked for us and what to watch out for along the way.
Plus, we'll talk about the importance of networking and leveraging local resources. You know, sometimes it's about who you know and how you can support each other.
Right, and we'll also touch on the power of online platforms and community groups to find the right people.
It's all about building those relationships, isn't it?
Exactly. So let's jump right in and start exploring how to find those key players for your real estate journey. You know, Sarah, one of the big reasons this topic is so crucial for folks over 40 right now is because, well, retirement timelines are shifting, right? A lot of people are realizing they need to rethink their financial strategies to support a comfortable retirement.
Absolutely, Mike. It's not just about saving anymore. With inflation creeping up, traditional savings accounts just aren't cutting it. You really need to have your money working for you. And real estate can be a fantastic avenue for that.
Exactly. I spoke to a couple, let's call them Tom and Laura. They're in their late 40s, and they were worried about how their savings were being eroded by inflation. They felt stuck, you know, but once they started looking into real estate, it opened up a whole new world for them.
That's a great example. It's like they realized that real estate could be a hedge against inflation. I mean, property values tend to rise over time, and rental income can provide that steady cash flow.
Right, and for them, building a team wasn't just a luxury, it became a necessity. They realized they couldn't do it all alone, especially since they both have full-time jobs. So they started small, finding a local real estate agent who really understood their goals.
Yeah, and I think that's important. Finding the right team members who align with your vision, it's not just about getting people on board, it's about getting the right people.
Exactly. They also reached out to a property manager, which was a game changer. They didn't want the hassle of dealing with tenants and maintenance. They wanted to focus on finding more properties.
That's smart. It's like they were able to free up their time to think bigger. And with the current market shifts, I think that's especially relevant. Many investors are unsure about the future, but having a solid team can provide a safety net.
Definitely. And look, I get it. Finding and paying for a team can feel daunting, especially when you're just starting out. But if you think about it, investing in your team is really an investment in your future.
Right. It's like you wouldn't try to climb a mountain without the right gear and support, would you?
Exactly. And let's not forget the emotional side of it. I mean, financial security is more than just numbers. It's about feeling safe and secure for yourself and your family.
Yeah, I think a lot of people overlook that emotional aspect. It's not just about building wealth. It's about creating a legacy, like having something to pass down to your kids or grandkids.
You're spot on. I remember another investor, let's call her Jessica. She started investing in real estate in her 50s. She was concerned about leaving something for her children, especially with the rising costs of living. By building her real estate team, she not only secured her own future, but also created a path for her family.
That's so inspiring, and it's never too late to start, right?
Exactly. It's never too late. But the key is to have that support system in place. Jessica, for instance, found a financial advisor who specialized in real estate investments. That really helped her navigate the complexities of the market.
And that's one of the best parts about building a team. You can lean on their expertise. It's like having a safety net when the market gets bumpy.
Right. You know, if you're over 40 and feeling that pressure from all sides, whether it's retirement planning, inflation, or just wanting to secure your family's future, this is the time to act.
And having a team can really help you feel more confident in your decisions. It's not just about making a purchase. It's about making informed choices.
Exactly. And with the current economic trends, we're seeing a lot of shifts in the market. There are opportunities out there, but you need the right people to help you identify and seize them.
It's that whole idea of not going into it blindly, right?
Yes, you want to be strategic. And let's face it, working with a diverse team can enhance your perspective. Each member can bring a different angle to the table, whether it's legal, financial, or market insights.
So it sounds like the bottom line is that building a real estate team isn't just an option. It's almost essential for anyone looking to secure their financial future as they approach retirement.
Exactly. And the beauty is, you can start small. You don't need a full-blown team right away. Just one or two key players who understand your vision can make a huge difference.
And that's a perfect segue into the core strategies we can share.
So, when we talk about building a real estate team on a budget, it's really crucial to start with a few core strategies.
Absolutely, Mike. It can seem overwhelming at first, but breaking it down into manageable steps makes it easier, right?
Exactly. One of the first things I'd recommend is focusing on the 1% rule. It's a simple way to evaluate whether a property is worth considering.
Right, the 1% rule. So, for our listeners who might not be familiar, that means if a property is priced at $200,000, you should aim for at least $2,000 in monthly rent. Is that it?
Yes, that's spot on. And, if a property doesn't meet that threshold, it's a good sign to look elsewhere. But remember, it's not the only metric to consider.
Sure, like the 50% rule, which can be really helpful for estimating operating expenses, right?
Exactly. So, the 50% rule suggests that about half of your gross rental income will go toward expenses, things like maintenance, property management, taxes. So, if you're expecting that $2,000 a month, you might budget around $1,000 for expenses.
And that leaves you with $1,000 for cash flow, which sounds pretty solid. But what if the expenses are actually higher than that?
Good point. That's where having a bit of a buffer comes in. Maybe you set aside an additional 10 to 20% for unexpected costs, just to be safe.
That makes sense. All right. So let's say you find a property that meets the 1% rule and you've considered the 50% rule for expenses. What next?
Well, now it's time to evaluate the potential cash flow. You can use a deal evaluation checklist. It doesn't have to be fancy. A simple spreadsheet will do.
Right. So what kind of things should be on that checklist?
First, you'd include the purchase price, expected rental income, and then the estimated expenses. Don't forget financing costs too, like your mortgage payment.
Got it. So if you're financing the property, you'd want to factor in interest rates and loan terms.
Definitely. And I'd also recommend looking into different financing options. For instance, some might consider a conventional mortgage, but others might look into FHA loans or even seller financing, which can sometimes be more flexible.
Yeah, I've heard that seller financing can be a smart move, especially if you're working with motivated sellers, right?
Exactly. It gives you a chance to negotiate terms that can benefit both parties. And if you're tight on cash, you might not need to put as much down, which is a huge plus.
So what about property types? Are there specific types that you think are better for new investors?
Well, single-family homes are often a good start. They're generally easier to manage and can attract a wider range of tenants. But I wouldn't rule out multifamily properties either. They can provide better cash flow with multiple rental units.
Right, and then there's the whole aspect of location. How much does that factor into your decision-making?
Location is huge. You want to look for areas with strong rental demand, good schools, and, amenities. Things like parks, shopping, or public transport.
So doing some local market research is key?
Absolutely. You can find a lot of data online, but also don't underestimate the power of driving around neighborhoods, talking to local realtors, or even visiting open houses to get a feel for the area.
That sounds like a great approach. And once you've identified a solid property, what's the next step?
After you've done your homework and you feel confident about the property, it's time to make your offer. But keep in mind your budget and your cash flow projections.
Right. You don't want to overextend yourself, especially if you're trying to build a team on a budget.
Exactly. And if you're working with a realtor, make sure they know your financial goals. A good realtor can help negotiate on your behalf and ensure you're getting a fair deal.
And what about property management? Is that something you think new investors should handle themselves or hire out?
It depends. If you have the time and willingness, managing the property yourself can save you money. But if you're looking to scale, or if the thought of dealing with tenants stresses you out, hiring a property manager might be worth the investment.
Right. And they can also help with finding tenants and handling maintenance issues.
Exactly. But keep in mind, if you do decide to go that route, be sure to vet property management companies carefully. You want someone who's reliable and has a good reputation.
So it sounds like building a team is all about finding the right people to support you while also being mindful of your budget.
Very true. It's about creating a team that complements your skills and fills in the gaps. Maybe you're great at finding properties, but not so much at managing them.
Or perhaps you're handy and can tackle repairs, but need help with financing.
Exactly. And don't forget about networking. Attend local real estate investment groups or meetups. You'd be surprised how many valuable connections you can make.
That's a great tip. And as we wrap up this section, what are some common pitfalls that investors should watch out for?
Well, one major pitfall is underestimating expenses. Many new investors assume everything will go smoothly, but unexpected repairs or vacancies can really derail your cash flow.
So having a solid reserve fund is essential, huh?
For sure. Another pitfall is not doing proper due diligence on the property or the market. Take your time to research and don't rush into decisions.
And I guess not having a clear plan or strategy can lead to poor choices too?
Absolutely. Knowing your goals, whether it's cash flow, appreciation, or a mix, will help you stay focused and make better investment decisions.
Those are great insights, Mike. I think our listeners will find them really helpful as they navigate this journey.
You know, Sarah, one of the biggest mistakes I see with investors, especially those just starting out, is over-leveraging.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's tempting to think, the more I borrow, the more I can buy, right?
Exactly. But when you take on too much debt, you can really put yourself in a tight spot if things don't go as planned. I had a client once, let's call her Jane, who jumped into a multifamily property with very little cash flow and a hefty mortgage.
Oof. What happened?
Well, she thought she could manage it effortlessly, but then, unexpected repairs came up, and vacancies, and suddenly she was barely scraping by.
That sounds stressful.
It really was. She ended up having to sell the property at a loss just to get out from under the debt.
So what could she have done differently?
A more conservative approach to financing would have helped, like keeping a solid cash reserve for unexpected costs and ensuring that the property cash flows positively before taking on additional debt.
Right, so a little extra caution can go a long way.
Absolutely. And then there are bad tenants, which can be a real thorn in the side.
Oh, definitely. I've heard nightmare stories about that.
Yeah, I once had a colleague who rented to a couple who seemed perfect at first, but turned out they were less than ideal.
What happened?
They constantly paid late, and when they finally moved out, they left the place in shambles. The repairs cost them a small fortune.
Wow, that's a tough lesson.
It really is. One way to avoid that is to thoroughly vet potential tenants. Check their rental history, references, and even, conduct credit checks if possible.
So doing your homework up front can save a lot of headaches down the line.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of ignoring cash flow.
That's a big one, for sure.
I had another client, let's call him Tom, who was so focused on the property's appreciation that he didn't pay attention to the cash flow. He bought a place that looked great on paper, but the rent didn't cover the mortgage and expenses.
Yikes.
Yeah, he thought he'd just hold on to it until the market went up, but the cash flow issues caught up with him, and he had to sell at a loss.
So what's the key takeaway there?
Always prioritize cash flow. It's like the lifeblood of your investment. If your property isn't generating positive cash flow, you might be in trouble down the line.
Makes perfect sense.
And then there's the common trap of trying to time the market, which, let me tell you, is a slippery slope.
Oh, for sure.
I've seen investors wait and wait for the perfect moment to buy, but by the time they jump in, prices have already skyrocketed.
Right. It's like trying to catch a wave.
Exactly. I had a friend who thought he could time it perfectly, but he ended up missing out on several great deals because he was waiting for a dip that never came.
That's tough.
So the best strategy is to focus on long-term gains rather than short-term fluctuations.
Good advice.
And let's not forget about those hidden costs that can sneak up on you.
Oh man, those can really add up, can't they?
They really can. I remember another investor, let's call her Emily, who bought a lovely property, but she overlooked the cost of property management, maintenance, and even property taxes.
That's a classic mistake.
right? She budgeted for the mortgage and utilities but didn't factor in those ongoing expenses. When they hit, it really put her in a financial bind.
So, it's crucial to have a comprehensive budget that includes all those little costs, huh?
Absolutely. And always have a buffer for the unexpected.
And how about spotting red flags early on?
Well, it's essential to trust your instincts. If something feels off during the viewing or the negotiation process, don't ignore it.
Like what?
For instance, if the seller is overly eager to get rid of the property, or if there are signs of neglect, those could be indicators of deeper issues.
That's a great point.
And then there are things like inconsistent rental income history or properties with a high turnover rate.
Those should definitely raise some eyebrows.
For sure. And I always say have a good team around you. Real estate agents, property inspectors, and even a financial advisor can help you spot those potential pitfalls.
So it really comes down to being thorough and informed, right?
Exactly. And if you do make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Learn from it. Adjust your strategy.
And keep moving forward, right?
Yes, it's all about resilience in this game.
So what's the next step for someone who's feeling a bit lost after hearing all this?
Well, I'd suggest, first, take a step back, reassess your goals, and make sure you have a solid plan in place.
And maybe even seek out some mentorship.
Absolutely. Finding someone with experience can provide invaluable insights and guidance.
Great advice, Mike.
Thanks, Sarah. It's all about taking those small, informed steps toward building your property wealth.
And that's what we're here for.
Exactly. Let's keep moving forward together. All right, so let's dive into some immediate steps that our listeners can take right now to start building their real estate team without breaking the bank.
Yeah, absolutely. It can feel overwhelming, but even small actions can lead to big changes.
Right. So first off, I'd suggest starting with local meetups or real estate investing groups. You can find these on platforms like meetup.com. Just connect with people in your area.
That's a great point. Networking can really make a difference, especially when you're just starting out. And the best part? Most of these meetups are free or low cost.
Exactly. Plus, you get to learn from others, experiences, and maybe even find a mentor.
Speaking of learning, what about some tools that can help with property analysis? I know you have a few favorites.
For sure. One of my go-to resources is the BiggerPockets calculator. It's really user-friendly and helps you analyze potential deals quickly.
Oh, I love that one. And it's so handy for beginners.
Another tool worth checking out is Deal Check. It's similar but offers some different features, like property comparisons and cash flow analysis.
Yeah, and that can be really useful when you're deciding between multiple options.
Definitely. And don't forget about Rentometer. It's a great tool for checking rental rates in your area. You want to make sure you're pricing your rentals competitively.
Right. Understanding the market is key. And what about the local MLS access?
Oh, absolutely. If you can get access to your local multiple listing service, that's a goldmine. You can find current listings, historical data, and even see how long properties have been on the market.
That's true. And for someone just starting out, it's also beneficial to look at sold properties to understand pricing trends.
Exactly. You're learning the market and building your knowledge base.
So if someone is just starting, how often should they be analyzing deals?
I'd suggest committing to analyzing at least one deal a week. Just set aside some time, even if it's just an hour.
That's manageable. And it helps keep you engaged with the market.
And remember, you don't have to go all in right away. Start where you are.
Yes! It's all about those small, consistent steps.
Another thing to consider is reading books or listening to podcasts focused on real estate investing.
That's a great way to gain knowledge. Do you have any recommendations?
Sure. The book on rental property investing by Brandon Turner is a fantastic read. It's very practical and straightforward.
I've heard it's really comprehensive. What about podcasts?
I'd recommend BiggerPockets Podcast. They have tons of episodes with interviews from successful investors who share their journeys and tips.
Those stories can be really inspiring.
They can indeed. And don't overlook the value of social media. Platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn have great real estate communities.
Right. Engaging with those communities can provide support and insights.
And you can follow local real estate agents or investors to get a feel for what's happening in your area.
Plus, it's a great way to stay updated on market trends.
Exactly. And another habit to start is to track your expenses and income related to your investments, even if you don't have any yet. Just start a simple spreadsheet.
That's smart. It'll help you understand your financial position as you begin investing.
And it also prepares you for when you do have properties. You'll already have a system in place.
So creating those habits early on can set you up for success later.
Yes, and don't forget to check in with your goals regularly.
That's important because it keeps you motivated and focused, right?
Exactly. You might even want to journal about your journey. Write down what you've learned, what you're excited about, and what you want to achieve.
That's a fantastic idea. It helps in reflecting and also in maintaining a positive mindset.
And if you ever feel stuck, remember to reach out to your network. Don't hesitate to ask questions or seek advice.
Yeah, people love to share their experiences, especially if they feel it can help someone else.
So those are some practical first steps. Now let's bring this all together. Well, Sarah, as we wrap up this episode, I think it's really important to highlight some key takeaways from our discussion on building a real estate team on a budget.
Absolutely, Mike. One of the first things we touched on was the importance of starting small. You don't need a massive team right out of the gate. Even having one or two trusted advisors can make a huge difference.
Right. And then we talked about leveraging your network. So many people overlook the connections they already have. Friends, family, or even acquaintances can lead to valuable resources.
Exactly. And don't forget about utilizing online platforms. They can be really useful for finding local professionals, whether it's real estate agents or property managers. It's all about doing your research.
And we emphasize the need for clear communication with your team. Setting expectations and being open about your budget can really help in building a strong, cohesive group.
Yes, and remember, building wealth through real estate isn't just about making quick profits. It's about creating long-term strategies and being patient with your investments.
Very true, Sarah. It's a journey, not a sprint. If you stay committed and focused, the rewards can be significant over time.
So for our listeners, if you found value in today's episode, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, and maybe even drop a comment about your biggest takeaway or any questions you might have.
And don't forget to share this with someone over 40 who's thinking about investing in property. You never know who might need that little push.
Next time, we'll dive into networking and how to meet other investors in your city. It's going to be another exciting discussion.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much. Take care, everyone.